very good evening and welcome to the news at 7. Today, we don't have any news, but what I do have to tell you is quite shocking. In fact, it's so shocking it may require admission into ICU for copious crystalloids and even vasopressor support. A very good morning, Dr. Ryan here with yet another high-impact, high-yield algorithm in internal medicine. I hope that you and your family are well. In the past 2 sessions, or 3 sessions rather, we've covered general topics in internal medicine. We spoke to delirium, then dyspnea, then pyrexia of unknown origin, and today we're continuing the trend with number 24 in our approach to internal medicine, and we're going to be speaking about hypotension. All right. Of course, a big thank you to everybody who has liked and shared my videos and subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't yet, well, this is an invitation to do just that. So let's dig in. Symptoms of hypotension include lightheadedness, orthostasis, syncope, dyspnea, blurry vision, malaise, and confusion. Physical findings of hypotension include a low arterial blood pressure, positive orthostatic vital signs, cool or warm extremities depending on the underlying etiology, and diminished peripheral pulses. Now, hypotensive shock occurs when tissue oxygenation is inadequate for the demands of aerobic metabolism. Hypotension, as per the algorithm, can be partitioned into hypovolemic, cardiogenic, distributive, and obstructive etiologies. Now, hypovolemic hypotension is characterized by a decreased jugular venous pressure, which is the primary issue, a decreased cardiac output, and an increased systemic venous return. Cardiogenic hypotension, on the other hand, is characterized by a raised jugular venous pressure, a diminished cardiac output, and that is the primary issue, and an increased systemic vascular return. Distributive hypotension is characterized by a decreased JVP, an increased cardiac output, but the main thing here is a decreased systemic venous return. And obstructive hypotension is characterized by an increased JVP, which is the primary issue, decreased cardiac output, and increased systemic venous return. So let's get stuck into this algorithm. There are 5 causes of hypovolemic hypotension, and here the problem is the diminished circulating blood volume, right? And that could be poor oral intake, it could be hemorrhage anywhere in the body, renal loss, which could, for example, be due to overzealous diuretic use, GI losses, as we know, in the way of vomiting, diarrhea, or severe burns. When we speak to cardiogenic shock, we speak into cardiomyopathy, and there's a whole variety of causes of cardiomyopathy, ranging from dilated cardiomyopathy, through to HOCM, restrictive, and then we can also classify based on the etiology. Is it a valvular problem? Or is it ischemic cardiomyopathy? Is it hypertensive, diabetic cardiomyopathy? Is it toxic? And so forth, right? You also got Takotsubo and postpartum, but we're discussing this in a separate algorithm, right? Dysrhythmia as well, tachy or bradyarrhythmias, acute myocardial infarct, acute valvulopathy, all right, pulmonary embolism, left ventricular outflow tract obstruction, and pulmonary hypertension, right? When we speak to distributive shock, essentially there's something wrong with the blood vessels. All right, so sepsis and septic shock, big in our clinical setting. Acute pancreatitis, which often leads to ARDS and multi-organ dysfunction with shock. Medications as well that can cause it. Anaphylactic shock. Adrenal insufficiency is a big one, also called Addison's or Addisonian crisis. Neurogenic shock and dysautonomia. And then when we speak to obstructive shock, we usually, this is a problem with an impotence in venous return, where we speak to cardiac tamponade, and we've covered that in I think 2 algorithms ago, and tension pneumothorax as well as constrictive pericarditis. Okay, now a handy mnemonic that I often use to remember the different kinds of shock is called shock males. SHOCKMALES. So S speaks to septic, H is hypovolemic, O is obstructive, and C is cardiogenic. And the K is so-called classified causes. And the males, MALES, stands for M for medication, A for anaphylaxis, L for liver failure, E for endocrine issues in the way of Addisonian crisis or mixed edema coma, and S is for spinal shock as well. So as always, here's something to just encourage and motivate you. We must sacrifice, or you must sacrifice for what you want or what you want becomes a sacrifice. Let me say that again. You must sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes a sacrifice. Of course, there is a difference between a want and a need. So what does the Bible have to say about needs? Philippians 4:19, here Paul is speaking directly to the people in Philippi, and he says, "My God will meet all your needs in accordance with his glorious riches in Christ Jesus." And Matthew chapter 7, here Jesus himself is speaking, and he says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks the door will be open." Then he goes on to say, "Which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So in everything, do to others what you would have them do unto you, for this sums up the law and the prophets." That's powerful. So I hope that you have been blessed and encouraged. Tomorrow we're going to approach another topic, a general topic in internal medicine. Stay well, and I'll catch you soon.